Today on Fresno State Focus, the possibility grows for a strike on the Fresno State campus. We hear what that means for students.
Also, voters are asked once again to decide the fate of Measure E, what it could mean for funding at Fresno State.
Plus, there's a new field of study being offered at Fresno State, how it can help students interested in a community-oriented career. Fresno State Focus starts now.
Hello, and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Marco Rosas.
And I'm Al Scott.
Big strike news this week. Fresno Unified will not strike after all. In the 11th hour, the union and school came to a tentative agreement.
But that's not the case for the California Faculty Association. The union voted to authorize a possible strike against the California State University system. The CFA represents the faculty of all 23 CSU campuses, including here at Fresno State. There is no agreement between the union and the university system during a 10-day quiet period. Faculty members at Fresno State, including instructors, have the authority to vote and go on strike.
If you look at the housing allowance given to the CSU presidents, for those that get it, that's more than the starting.
If the strike does happen, the CSU has assured it will do their part to continue the learning environment and continue campus services like mental health care for students.
And Measure E is back on the ballot after being shot down by voters last year. Supporters of the initiative are hoping that with a few revisions, Measure E will help raise $60 million or more for Fresno State. Measure E is an additional sales tax in Fresno County meant to fund specific programs and infrastructure at Fresno State. When it was first proposed in November of 2022, it lost 47.17% to 52.86%. Since then, several changes have been made to Measure E. For instance, whereas the 2022 version of Measure E was an 8-cent tax on every $4, the 2023 version is only 1 cent on every $4. The 2022 version of Measure E wanted 1/3 of the funds to go towards athletics, the new version only 15%. Regardless of these changes, some people, like District 6 Council member Gary Brenefield, strongly oppose Measure E.
CSU tuition has just gone up, and this is where some of the money should come from to meet Fresno State's needs. The other source should clearly be the CSU system itself, just as San Diego State University received $660 million for their stadium and other needs.
Brenefield also stated that he feels that Fresnans' pockets shouldn't be the ones that are reached into when some of Fresno State students aren't even from Fresno. But others, like Paul Lake, are glad to see that Measure E is back on the ballot and are excited to see the big impact of a little donation.
It's our responsibility as citizens to support our community. I mean, I know that, there is such a thing as too much taxes to pay, but this is tiny. It's not much. We can afford it, and we're all going to benefit from it.
And Measure E, if passed, will be in effect for 20 years. So remember, on November 7th, not only does your vote matter, it will matter for years to come.
It is registration week for the spring 2024 semester. Registration for the upcoming semester began on Monday and lasts throughout the week. Students can register for classes by logging into their Fresno State portal.
Registering for classes was a little bit hectic just because I needed a lot of elective units, and so I needed to add just a bunch of classes that I wasn't sure what to take, but after getting some advice from my counselor, I think it all turned out great.
Students can ease their registration process by getting help from the university registrar office, meeting with their counselors, and building their class wish list. For more information, or if you need any help, you can contact the University Advising Center.
It is a stressful time this week registering for next semester, midterms this semester, or getting ready for graduation. But there's a chance to relax a bit this week. Stress-Free Week is hosted by Spotlight Events to help students access resources and to find some balance and have some fun. Events going throughout the week include resource fairs, a craft night, and a dine and dish event hosted at the RSU. For For more information, you can follow Spotlight Events on Instagram at FS_Spotlight Events.
State, the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies Department unveiled the LGBTQ2+ Studies minor. I spoke with 3 people involved with the minor to get a deeper understanding of what it is and how it can benefit the campus community.
And when it was developed, and how it may differ, but also
Transgender history and queer studies is not a topic broached in many histories of America courses. However, the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies Department is working to ensure that everyone's history is taught on the Fresno State campus. The foundation for the LGBTQ2+ minor began in 2017 when Dr. Kat Faubert was hired.
So when I got hired, basically it was about building the program from the ground up. We wanted to make sure that the minor was low unit and in any ways could help them fulfill any GE needs they need, that they could just then get a minor from it.
Not many universities offer a course like this. For students and educators, the introduction of the LGBTQ2+ minor is momentous.
It feels affirming for who I am, but also it feels very important for my work. There feels like there's a space here to be able to do different types of curricular activities, get students involved, as well as do my own research.
The most cathartic academic experience that I've had, I've been able to, it's just a lot of emotions, a lot of crying, a lot of joy.
Don't let the name fool you. The LGBTQ2+ Studies minor is open to everyone no matter how you identify. And while it is validating for those who are already a part of the community, it welcomes all who are willing to learn.
And again, that can affect everyone across the board, whether you are part of the LGBTQ community or not, because we all live gendered lives and we all have different social or romantic relationships. So I think there's a lot of benefits to the minor.
The LGBTQ2+ minor offers students a rich history and will grant them the skills they need for successful community-oriented work. If you have any interest in checking out the minor, Dr. Faubert encourages you to schedule an academic appointment with her. For more information on the LGBTQ2+ minor, visit the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies website.
Thank you, Alexis, for that. And here's some good news about the construction and the parking mess. The P6 parking lot near the Science 2 building is opened earlier than expected. The solar PV installation project was projected to be finished by December. But the P5 parking lot is also fully opened. And that's not all. East San Ramon Avenue between the Science 1 and Science 2 buildings is back open after about 1 year of heavy construction. East San Ramon Avenue can be used as a shortcut for students trying to get to P6 parking lot. Coming up on Fresno State Focus, it's Dia de los Muertos. We take a look at what that means for those who celebrate.
Plus, we'll give you a look at one of the Fresno State Jazz Band's concerts.
Welcome to a new month. Does that mean we could welcome a change in weather as well? I will have your focus on weather after the break.
I got the bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head.
Up in my head.
I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Up in my head to say. I got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Hey. Down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Deep in my heart. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. All over me. All over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit.
Deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. I got that bulldog spirit.
I'm Cynthia Carranza with your focus on weather. First, we're going to take a look at the student. This is a point of view from the president's office overlooking the campus. It's sunshine. We have some clouds. Let's move on to the national satellite. This is a pretty tranquil day. Nothing too significant here, not a lot going on. But if I move forward to the western satellite, you can see we have some moisture happening on the Pacific Northwest region. We have some clouds over San Francisco. But what we really want to know is what's going on near us. We have an average of about 70s, an exception to Shaver Lake, it's 65. So actually quite nice weather. But don't let the lows smack you in the face. They are going to be in the 40s, so you may want to dress in layers and have a coat handy. Air quality, lucky for us, it is moderate. For some sensitive groups, you may want to just be cautious of that. In Tulare, actually, they are looking pretty good. So good for you, Tulare. Extended outlook on the week. Sunshine and clouds. We have Saturday, our game against Boise. I know there's going to be people outdoors. Bring your coats and layer up. And for Sunday, we have daylight savings. So set your clocks. That's your focus on weather. Back to the desk.
Today is Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead.
Emily Crabtree talked with some members of the community to find out what it means to them.
We are here at the Cross Cultural and Gender Center with Cynthia Villalobos to talk about Dia de los Muertos and what's going on here in the Cross Cultural and Gender Center. So hello, what is going on today?
Yeah, so today for November 1st and 2nd, we will be having our ofrenda on campus, and all of the pictures here that were submitted by the campus community. So students, faculty, and staff, they were able to email us in photos. All the frames we did provide, and then all of the marigolds and food, we all put that on the ofrenda as well. We do have educational materials on the wall. If you've never heard of the holiday, just come stop by and honor our loved ones from our campus community.
Perfect. And do you think that this kind of has an impact on the community, and what kind of impact do you think it has?
I think the impact is kind of what the holiday signifies. Though we have lost our loved ones in the physical world, that doesn't mean that they are gone. So I know that's one of the reasons why I do love celebrating this holiday. As someone that has lost a lot of loved ones, it kind of helped me deal with those losses and the fact that how lucky were we to experience them in our lives? How lucky were we to hear their laughs and give them hugs? So I think this holiday really signifies life and enjoying it and being in that moment.
Perfect. Well, if you would like to come check this out, it is still here until tomorrow. And I talked to more people about how Dia de los Muertos affects them. This is their story.
For some, Halloween is a night of creativity and costumes while carrying out tricks or giving and getting treats. But for others, October 31st marks the first day to welcome in the spirits of their loved ones who have passed away. Dia de los Muertos is celebrated in one way or another all around the world, and Fresno State's community is no different.
We're already getting an idea of where we're going to put the altar. We already have pictures. Recently, my great uncle died, so we're going to get a picture of that. I recently bought a little shot glass of the Raiders logo because he was a Raiders fan.
Lizbeth Andreas Aguilar says though her family only started participating in the Days of the Dead in the last few years, it has brought her closer to a side of her family she didn't connect to before.
It reminds me of my family and the culture that for a very long time I wasn't really super close into, but now I'm kind of embracing it more. I'm trying to help out, set up the altar as well.
Though many choose to celebrate Dias de los Muertos with their families privately in their homes, Professor Adán Avalos has created an altar for people in the community to celebrate their loved ones together.
It's not about being sad, it's actually about, celebrating people's lives. So when you hear people's stories, I learn about other people that I didn't know, they're part of my community.
Avalos' 8-year-old son Joaquin drew out the blueprint for the altar. The altar is inspired by a photo taken of Avalos' mother shortly before she passed.
That was inspiration. He really wanted to honor his grandma. He never met her, but he really wanted to honor her.
He hopes that those in the community will continue to come to the altar and encourages anyone interested to stop by and maybe bring a picture and light a candle in memory of their loved ones. Reporting at Fresno State, Emily Crabtree, Fresno State Focus.
Thank you, Emily. We move on from Day of the Dead to Cuervos Football Club here on campus. It's an intramural club made of DOSAM staff, the DOSAEM, And here to give us more details is Rigo Flores. Rigo, how are you, bro?
Thank you for having me. Doing good, yeah. First time here, so really excited.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. Rigo, can you tell people exactly what the Cuervos Club is?
Yeah, so most folks on campus are familiar with Jerry Gomez. He kind of sent an email out to a few campus partners and was like, hey, I want to try to start the soccer team. And it was open to staff and students, but I think there was just more interest from staff. And so it's 12 staff members from the Division of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. And yeah, we play on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And how have practices been going? I mean, who do you guys play against?
You know, we're playing against all student teams. So it's really intimidating because a lot of us are professional staff. We have families, and so we're, stretching 30 minutes before games, and students show up and they're just ready to go. So it's been fun, but definitely a little intimidating.
And I believe we have some footage of you guys having some fun. I know Jerry sent it to me. Hopefully, let's take a look. Okay, all right.
Right over there.
Yeah, check that out.
Yeah.
Rigo, can you tell me the vibe of the practices? I mean, we're getting a look here, but from your own words, what would you say is the vibe of the practices?
I'm not gonna lie, it's legit. Like, we have a speaker with some music, we run drills, warm-ups, and we do the same thing before games. So right now we're just playing games since we play two times a week, but it's really been nice. Just the camaraderie, bringing folks together, and also meeting students on the pitch. It's been fun, kind of connecting. They're like, oh, you all work here? And we're like, yeah, we work here, because they think we're students at first.
Yeah. And how can students get involved exactly if students are watching this and are all of a sudden interested?
Yeah, I would say it's intramural sports, so on campus, and I think they do soccer as well as a few other sports. But really what I like to tell students is get involved. That's how you meet people. That's how you get connected with campus and feel part of it, right? Not just coming to class and going home. So I would say just Google IM, and that should be a place to start.
Right on. And if you really want to sign up, you can email Captain Jerry Gomez at gerardo_gomez@mail.fresnostate.edu. Thank you, Rigo, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
This week began with a jazz band bang. On Monday night, the Fresno State Jazz Orchestra and Ensemble put on a show for everyone to enjoy. Talent included Fresno State music students and special guests, including Anthony Blea and Javier Navarrete. The guests played with the jazz students and helped pay tribute to the original roots of jazz.
Probably my favorite part about this jazz event was getting to play Afro-Caribbean music again and getting to really embrace that side of this music that doesn't tend to get a whole lot of recognition in music education.
Catch the next big jazz performance coming up on November 20th. Several sororities and fraternities are hosting a fundraising event, but the money is not for them. The chapters are working together to raise money for Valley Children's. As one member explained, it allows the members to get creative while also having a fun time.
This week, so right now we're doing Dollar Wars to raise money for Valley Children's, and we have buckets out here for all the teams participating, just for a friendly competition to make it fun.
All of the money fundraised will go to Valley Children's Hospital.
Coming up in sports, we give you a recap of the homecoming game and what is to expect for Saturday's game against Boise.
Plus, it's more than just the football players on the field. We will tell you how everyone from the fans to even the dance team come together to support the Red Wave. Stay tuned for sports.
Here in the Valley, our colors are blue and our waves are red. Bulldog born and bulldog bred. Generations linked forever by traditions that have stood the test of time. Inside our stadiums, we are one. This is our valley, and this year, we're doing it for you.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing, and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us, and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Fresno State improved to 7-1 on the season with a 31-24 comeback win on Saturday over UNLV. The Dogs are now in second place in Mountain West and will turn its attention to Boise State for arguably the biggest game of the year.
As incredible as the game was on the field, players and fans will tell you the power of the Red Wave lies in the culture at Fresno State.
Literally would see like my 5th grade teacher and like my parents and then cousins from like Bakersfield and surrounding areas. So it's just a different environment, man. You don't get this really anywhere else. It's a very unique, very special place to play football.
Prior to any game at Fresno State, there's a pregame party. But what makes tailgates so special?
The people, honestly, they make it so much fun because you don't even know them and you can just have like the best conversations.
Fans will come from near and far, both young and old, to support the Dogs. One common theme, once you get a taste, there's no turning back.
Been a part of it for about 10 years or so. Our daughter went to school here and started coming ever since, and just got kind of addicted to it a little bit, you know.
The party doesn't stop at homecoming. These gates behind me will be open this Saturday as the Bulldogs welcome the town rival Boise State. The Red Wave will be in full force as there will be yet another sellout crowd.
The impact of the fans goes beyond just making connections. Fresno State safety Dean Clark talks about how the team feeds off the crowd to motivate them.
I think the Red Wave knows how much energy they give us on the field. When you make that big play and you see everybody going crazy, it just lights you up and gets everybody ready to go. So it's a great feeling.
Fresno State is giving away free t-shirts to the first 10,000 fans on Saturday. The team will also introduce custom helmets to celebrate Native American Heritage Month. Homecoming was not the only big event going on during Saturday's victory over UNLV. The Bulldogs inducted legendary head coach Pat Hill into the Ring of Honor during halftime. Hill coached at Fresno State from 1997 to 2011, winning 112 games. Coach Tedford spoke after the game of what Hill means to the Bulldogs.
What he sacrificed and what he's done for this valley and for this program, it's about time. I'm so happy that he was honored tonight. I'm really happy we were able to pull out a win on his special night.
While he is no longer coaching, that did not stop his football career. He'll now broadcast Fresno State games doing color commentary. And he does that alongside the voice of Fresno State athletics, Paul Leffler. Welcome, Paul.
Hey, glad to be here, Al.
You're very familiar working with Pat. You know, obviously he coached at Fresno State, and now you're working with him on Saturdays. What's that like?
Oh, man, that is a thrill ride. It's the most unpredictable thing you could ever have, because if there's one thing I know about Pat Hill, he's as authentic as they come. He's unfiltered. He tells you how he really feels, and that's what we love about him, and it was a thrill to see him honored at Valley Children's Stadium.
16 years ago, something very special happened here at Fresno State. The baseball team not only made it to the College World Series, but made a run, and they won it all. Tell us a little bit about what that run was like for you.
Don't tell me how old you were when that happened. It was incredible. It was something that just lit this valley on fire and reminded everyone that it's possible to get there from here, that you don't have to go somewhere else to achieve your dreams. And it's exciting that here in a couple weeks we get to honor the coach who led that team to the national championship, Mike Batesel, November 18th and 19th at the football stadium and the baseball stadium. It's just something none of us who were there will ever forget.
Yeah. Obviously, you work here doing sports, but you also are a part of a program called Honor Flight, working with veterans. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Wow, how much time do you have? To me, it's the best thing that happens in our valley because it takes a diverse group of people and brings them all together behind one cause. If you come to one of our homecomings, you'll look around the crowd, you'll see age 0 to 100, every ethnicity, every religion, every political persuasion, every tax bracket. We all agree our veterans deserve our gratitude, and it's all about getting them to their memorials in Washington, D.C. at no cost to them. Fresno State's been a part of it. The Veterans Fraternity here has helped. And if anyone wants information, they can go to cvhonorflight.org.
Thank you very much, Paul. If there's one thing that you're looking forward to for the rest of this year, what would that be?
Wow, I think this football team's doing some special things. And to see the Red Wave reinvigorated and reconnected with the athletic programs, it shows us what we're capable of here in the Valley. So I'm excited to see where that leads.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us, Paul. So we've been talking with Paul Leffler, the voice of Fresno State Athletics. Bulldogs fans gather to watch football, but the experience would not be the same without other clubs and organizations that are also on the field performing. Cynthia Carranza gives us perspective on student involvement.
Our Fresno State dance team dedicates hours to high-intensity dance practice. Fans get to appreciate their moves at our home games watching from the bleachers. What the fans don't see is the commitment to hours of physically demanding dance practice that is necessary for their on-field performances. Michaela Hang tells us about the rigorous dance rehearsals.
We do. So typically we practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday for roughly 2 hours. They're pretty tough practices. We work really hard. I know that can kind of get lost in translation during the games.
We do love football, but football wouldn't be football without all the other clubs and organizations that practice behind the scenes to be here tonight and make these games happen.
There is nothing quite like the rush of rooting for your team's victory or the rush from a player's perspective playing the game. Once the stands are empty and the stadium goes quiet, how will we cherish the memories? A photographer from athletics says that is why photography and football need one another.
The players, I hope that, they realize that they appreciate what we do out here, because otherwise, if we're not here, no one's documenting what they're doing.
Touchdowns are not the only thing getting the crowd going, and the players are not the only ones getting their sweat on.
Every time Fresno State scores, we run out on the field, do some push-ups, and get everybody pumped up.
Ortiz says he's happy to represent the Army ROTC program at home games because oftentimes they can be overlooked. Other groups such as the skydiving team and the marching band also perform and get all eyes and ears on them. They are preparing for our rivalry game this upcoming Saturday against Boise. Cynthia Carranza, Fresno State Focus.
Former Bulldog Aaron Judge is known for hitting home runs and his achievements on the diamond. But on Monday, the MVP was honored for his contributions off the field. Judge received the prestigious Roberto Clemente Award thanks to his All Rise Foundation, which aims to inspire young leaders to make an impact in their community. Earlier this week, Judge recanted on his time as a Bulldog and how it shaped him into who he is today.
Out of high school, I got drafted, but I just knew, physically I wasn't ready, and even mentally I was like, I'm not mature enough to take that next step. And those 3 years I spent at Fresno State to mature as a player on the field, but also mature as an individual and as a young man off the field.
Judge and his former head coach Mike Batesel will return to Fresno State later this month. The Bulldogs will retire their numbers during halftime of the football game against New Mexico on November 18th. Do you feel that?
Feel what?
It's defrosting.
What's defrosting?
Mariah Carey.
Oh my God. We haven't even finished defrosting a dang turkey yet, and we're already talking about Mariah Carey.
Well, just letting you know.
Halloween was yesterday, Al. Okay, I'm not ready to let go.
Early.
I'm not ready to let go of spooky season, man. We had a ton of amazing Halloween events, and I don't know. I want to see some Thanksgiving events before we get to Christmas.
Do you ever think that holidays like Thanksgiving and other holidays going on, they get left out?
Yeah. There's a lack of Thanksgiving representation at Fresno State, and I want to see more. I want to see turkeys. I want to see hams. I don't want to see Mariah Carey yet. I don't want to see Santa Claus yet. You know what? I might be getting on a soapbox right now, Al, but that's just how I feel.
Maybe we'll do something about it next week.
And speaking of next week on Fresno State Focus, we'll take you to the pool deck and see how our swim team did at their last meet.
Plus, planning for the upcoming holidays with candles and El Nino prediction information. One of our classmates will show us how to make candles. Another will show us how to prepare for the El Nino weather.
Also, out with the old and in with the new, a longtime Bulldog merch store is closed, and the donut shop is moving in. Didn't you say we needed more places for food?
Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week.